What are we doing?
Dude, I don't know.
You need a hug? All right, let's do it.
So I was doing some research,
It's like therapy for us. You're just easing into not having much time on your hands.
and I'm stoked for the journey. What's up, everybody? My name is Brian Boyd,
What's up, everybody? My name is Zach Hitler.
and we are two dads on a mic. That was a really nice interpretation. What do you call that? Not interpretation.
Copycat?
What do they call it when you mimic somebody?
A mimicker.
No, not a mimicker. You call it a
Tune in to the mimic.
no impersonation.
True.
It was very good.
I've thought about doing that more and more. Like, I want to impersonate and get good at, like, a lot of different people.
Yeah.
More like rabbis. Because I do so many bar mitzvah DJing. And, like, I did a gala a month ago, and I was like, dude, if I could come on talking like a rabbi,
Would people just love it?
it'd elevate my game and, like, performance.
Oh, they would die.
Dude.
They would die laughing.
Yeah,
I didn't know that rabbis had a certain thing. I'm
Well,
not
it's
really in
it's
tune
like
with that world.
New Yorkers have a way of talking. And I called it out to him, like, Sam, you sound like a rabbi. I'm like, I know you're Jewish. I can just tell. He's like, yeah. And it's just, they have a way of, like, how it's structured. It's weird. They all talk the same.
That's so funny. Like Sam's dad, like
Yeah.
he's got that total New York accent.
Well, no, Sam's dad has a super just New York accent.
Right.
Sam talks different than his dad.
Totally.
Sam has rabbi voice.
Really?
Yep.
Sam does?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like it takes an extra second to get certain words out.
Well, I thought that was just Sam.
I don't know.
I thought it just took extra seconds to get words out of him anyway.
I was like, where do I start doing that? And I'm just gonna start watching YouTube videos when I drive and, like, how to talk like this. And
That's awesome.
I want to get all the accents down, and it'll just up my game.
I love it. I love it. All right, everybody. Today we are talking kids and electronics. So, last episode we talked about how do you communicate with kids and platforms to do it, and we talked really heavily on texting, right? And how we talked about a lot of different platforms, which was cool, right? We talked about Marco Polo, how Instagram and Facebook are kind of adapting to communication with everybody, and then we talked heavily on texting, and which made us kind of lead into this next. Like, now we have technology, right? And when and how do we limit, or do we limit our kids interacting with that technology, and what does that look like? And is it harmful? Is it beneficial? Is it both? And so we just kind of wanted to dive deep into that topic today.
Yeah, it's a big one because, like we said last episode, you're not getting away from it. It's only going to multiply. And for me, it's just keeping tabs on what Aria will be watching, and how much is for sure. But again, when she leaves the house as she gets older and becomes a teenager, I really don't have control. It's in the control of other parents' hands, the school's hands, what they have access to. So it's really just, again, back to what I think of just re-educating continuously on what's good, what's bad. But there's so many categories in this topic of, like, what's too much or what is good, what's bad. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's a tough subject.
Well, you just went on a little vacation to Flaming Gorge, Utah. If you guys don't know Flaming Gorge, Utah, get online, Google it. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
I feel like I was on Mars when I'm driving around. You're just like no man's land, and these mountains are like, it's just nuts. It's just off the grid, super beautiful. I mean, it's amazing.
But one thing you did while you were on your vacation is you rigged up a little electronic device. What was the device?
It was, my brother hooked it up. He brought over a Nintendo for me.
Original or 64?
Original
Nintendo.
Original Nintendo.
8-bit.
Yep, and that's the only thing I really got into ever video game status wise. And I was just like, do you have Mario Brothers? Yep. Okay, I got to beat it real quick. And I was like, took me an hour and I beat it. And I'm like, I'm done.
So you're on vacation, but yet you still tapped into the electronics world and kind of eliminated yourself from the beauty that was going on around you by diving into video games.
Yeah, I did bring it on the porch of the lake, and that's where I played it because it was a little old school TV. But on that topic, even my mom and Jess, because when I go on vacation, I love technology. I love video editing, shooting. I love all the creativity of that world. So I spent a good time when I had downtime, like Ari was napping, editing a new episode of or a Mother's Day episode, the one I was telling you about. And my mom's just like, why are you working? I'm like, Mom, you have to understand, I enjoy this. This is what I like to do. Did I spend tons of time on the dock fishing and walking? Yeah, but I had some downtime of just sitting. But instead of sitting on the patio by, with everybody and just like hanging out, I enjoy doing that. Like I forecast when I go on vacation. Like I want to do that because I can let my mind be creative and not focus on 10 other things that have to happen at home. So, I mean, I love it. And she's like, oh, okay, I get it. But I don't know if anybody ever will, because I love technology so much, and that's like my creative outlet.
Yeah, and it has to be, right? I mean, it has to be, and we're going to really get into, with kids how this is. But I think it's a different story if you're sitting inside playing Nintendo for 5 hours on one of your vacation days versus Aria's taking a nap, or her and Jess went for a walk, or her and your mom went and did something else, and you're like, dude, I got some time. I'm going to play some Nintendo. It's nostalgic, first of all, right? Nostalgia is awesome. It's fun, and it's something that on your vacation time, you should have some of your vacation time. I don't think when you go on vacation with your kids, it should all be all about them. You got to be able to de-stress and unwind too.
Yeah, just like at home too. And honestly, on a side note, what I like about Nintendo compared to the new age video game world, you can't save anything. Think about it. Like you're getting, let's say in Mario Brothers, you got to level 8, and you're like, yes, I'm here, but I gotta go. You can't save it.
Some games you can.
You can?
The Adventures of Zelda and Link.
But that's not original Nintendo.
Yeah, totally.
You can't save Zelda. You can?
Yeah, you can.
My brother had Zelda too, and he's like,
you can, but you can only save it to a certain point, and then when you're at a level, like if you don't pass a certain thing, then it goes back. But you can save a little.
My brother can beat Zelda, and I'm like, if I had, again, going back to electronics, I didn't have internet, Wi-Fi really where we were, unless you went to like the lodge, which was far away. So if I would have had access to the internet where I was, I may have dove into Zelda because I remember it, but I needed like the cheat sheet of like where to go and where's the secret, and I didn't have that. My brother, he knows. He can beat it. And I'm like,
classic game.
Classic
game.
Yeah. What were the
Adventures of Link and The Legend of Zelda were the two that went and coincided.
Do you ever play Kid Icarus?
Oh yeah. Castlevania, Kid Icarus,
dude,
Kirby. I mean, all of them.
Do you get the Instagram feed of like buy the old school Nintendo on your feed ever?
No.
Of advertisements?
No.
I feel like I ordered one, but they always come from like China, so you always wait like 2 months for a product to come.
Well, you see the new little one they have, right?
Yeah, that's the one I want to buy.
It's got pre-programmed.
But you can buy them here, can't you? Like in store?
Yeah. You can buy them at Best Buy.
I think when Aria gets a little older and video games start put into play, I'm buying with that because that's something that we can both enjoy.
Right.
And
I love that.
Yeah.
Like that is a great point as to what we're talking about, right? Kids and electronics. People might say, oh, my kids are playing video games all the time. Then go fucking play video game with your kid. Mm-hmm. Learn their world and dive into it for a little bit and play Halo with them, or whatever.
You don't know the end game of that connection you're making with your kid. Just like we were coming to text of like, if you dive into what your kid is into, how they communicate, there's this underlying thing. They don't even know what's happening, but you're making a connection with your kid, and it'll benefit you in the long run.
Totally. So in regards to this topic and the way that I think the mindset goes is, what happens with kids that are introduced to technology too soon? What happens with kids that are engaging with technology too much? And this is where I feel parents use it as a kind of a guide for excuses. You know what I mean?
In what way?
So people say like, oh, well, they shouldn't be watching that much TV. They shouldn't be playing that many video games.
Oh, so you're saying they say it, but then you could fire back, well, then go outside and play catch with them.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
It is a tough, and like, I was the one, parent, we both were like, we're not going to let them watch the iPad. That's not how we want to do things. But as the busy world happens, as we said the last episode, you have to adapt. It's going to happen eventually, but like she, caught onto like watching YouTube stuff. I'm like, there's got to be something better. There's YouTube Kids. Okay, that's great. Delve further into that. There's still some bad stuff on there, but there's a lot better. And now she's been educated. If she gets any iPad time, she can watch YouTube Kids. And like, I only select the learning button or the something button where it's all learning based. Again, she can find her way back to getting something bad, but she's learning. If she keeps going back to that, we take it away. It could take a week of teaching of like, if you keep doing that, I'm taking it away. So we are definitely in the phase of teaching about electronics right now at 3.5. It's crazy.
But that's a reality.
Yeah.
And it has to start that soon.
Yeah, and we didn't choose it. It's just as it happens, we're educating. That's it. And it takes time. But it's I don't know, like where I feel like as they get older, I feel I'm not going to have any worry because we're very outdoorsy people. We know what's important with your child, what benefits the outdoors life, and just not always. So I think it's a good balance of everything is okay.
Right. Well, and one thing that we came across and we read is that, so one thing that they say is that between the birth and the age of 3, as a known fact, our brains develop more in those first 3 years of our life, and really the first 8 years of our life, but really in the first 3 years of our life than at any other point in our life, and it really sets us up for the type of things that we do and the type of things we know. Right, that's when your neurons are really are connecting, and you're really just your synapses are forming, and all that amazing stuff is going on. That's why a kid can go from being completely to walking, talking, and eating on their own and reading in 3 years. Like that's an insane amount of growth, right? We don't grow like that at any other point in our life. So you've got to be aware of, okay, how are they getting their cognitive development? Are they getting it through sitting on a tablet? Are you plopping them in front of a TV? Or are they getting it from both? Are they getting it from you as a parent interacting with them? Like, so for instance, yesterday, right? Mac and I watched Little World Cup Soccer. She loves watching the TV, and I'm aware of that, and it scares me a little bit because as soon as the TV's on, like if I'm holding her, she'll turn her head to the TV.
Yeah, but get ready because as they grow, I mean, like Arya does watch a lot of TV, I would say. But it's just movies. But see, the thing is like I grew up watching a lot of movies, and the reason
That's what's wrong with you.
Right?
The article was correct.
Yeah. But I think like it's not bad. Like for me and anybody, like people were over yesterday, and they're just like, a girl asked me, she's like, "What is it like to live inside your brain?" Because every time I have a conversation, I'm just like, man, that could be like an amazing episode on Saturday Night Live or this. And then she said this, and I'm like, but the reason why, because I've always been surrounded by, I love movies. So I don't, but then again, at the age that you're saying, 0 to 3, it's a very developmental, time, which I do agree with. But as you'll see, as Mac gets older,
Well, I think so. In regards to that, what I did yesterday is in between like the halftime and I think the game went into overtime and PKs. I would turn the TV off and we'll have books. I always have books right there at the coffee table. We got a book because I know right now she's very wanting to like touch things and feel. She can't touch and feel the TV. Right? She can see it and she can see all the movements and stuff, and that's great, but it's not really stimulating all of the things that need to be stimulated.
It's the wrong stimulation.
Right.
That's why you're worried about it. But and now I think of it like, Ari does love to look at books and read, and I like what you just said because there's 2 different kinds of TV watching right now, or like 3. There's like movies on my hard drive, which is great, and then there's TV with commercials. The commercials are the culprit. That is what I dislike. So when the commercials come on right now, if I'm in a bind, I just put the guide on. I just cover because she is getting now understanding, like, I want that. Mm-hmm. She's wrapping her brain, and now it's manipulating her brain. But I like how books, this and that, like, so if it's a commercial, I would maybe let's read a book, or let's grab a book, even though it's like 3 minutes still, or finding ways to like veer away that, view. I mean, a lot of times we record shows anyway so that you can fast forward, but yeah, it's the commercials.
Yeah, commercials are bad. I don't like commercials personally because number one, I hate how loud they get.
Yeah.
They get so damn loud, which I think is nice with Netflix, Amazon, all those things. You really get to avoid.
And that's what we watch a lot. The new house we're gonna move into. I told my mom, because she's the one who wants TV, like she wants the news, so I'm gonna get the base package. I don't want it anymore because I joke about this now. Do you know what the new age movie watching is? For I think a lot of people, is spending a half hour figuring out what to watch.
Oh my God, dude.
That's the new age movie watching.
Because there's so much content.
And when you're like, with me, I don't have a lot of time on my hands to watch a movie. So it's like two nights this week. Just like, oh, let's watch something. We're in bed. And I know I have like a 45 minutes before she falls asleep. Literally, I'm scrolling, reading, watching previews. And my brain's like, you only get this once in a while. You got to pick the right movie.
Yep.
And I joke about this whole week to people, and they're like, oh my God, you're so right.
Dude, it's so
We spend
perfect.
a half hour watching, I'd almost just rather watch previews. Have you ever just watched previews?
Oh, yeah.
Like on iTunes, I used to just like watch previews for like what's coming out in the theaters. But yeah, it's just, there's too much out there.
There's so much content.
They haven't,
and you also don't want to waste your time watching something that sucks.
oh, there's been many times 10 minutes in.
Because
like,
there's
nope,
so
I
much
don't like
content,
it.
so much of it sucks.
Yeah, many times I've started a movie, I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Next one. But it's because my brain's like, I only have this one opportunity for 1 week to watch a movie, and I have enough, energy to stay awake, or it's 10, not 12 to start a movie. And there's too much content, I think, out there, but it's not categorized correctly. They haven't fine-tuned, or have they? And I'm just not like trusting Netflix, like recommended for you, watch it.
Yeah.
Like I know everything can be manipulated in a way of like recommended for you because it's a new movie and it's paid to be in your, whatever. But it's.
But I'm not like that. I do not like spending my time watching shitty movies. I don't
agree.
like it. Like when I'm watching a movie and it's good, and then an hour and a half into it, it starts getting bad, and then the ending sucks. I'm just like, ah!
You know what I want to do in the world of like what we talked about, texting and last time and like different feeds or Marco Polo is when someone sees a movie, like let's say you saw a movie and it was great, and then someone like my mom, my brother, my boy Corey, if these three people like the movie, I'm watching it. I want to have a feed or a web page or something.
That's smart.
Where people can kind of like the people you like you have your trusty 5 reviewers.
Trusty 5 reviewers.
And if 4 out of 5
that.
say it's great, I'm watching that movie. I know what to go to, and instead of going through the previews of 50 movies for a half hour, you go to that and you go down the list of 5, and you at least know the 5 to go to.
So instead of what Netflix recommends for you, your followers or who you follow recommends for you.
Because my mom, all these people, they like movies for a different reason that I know they like them, and I like that about them.
Yeah.
So I will watch it.
Yeah.
And I thought about this. I'm like, man, this is a good idea.
Netflix, you better jump on that right now because Amazon's going to already steal it. In fact, Amazon's probably already done it because they're tapping into our microphones right now.
Yeah, right.
So
what are they like? No, we're not.
Just through the Google Home.
Dude, could you imagine? What would you do?
Oh man, I'd be like, I don't know.
You couldn't do anything.
I'd hurry up and trademark it.
You couldn't do anything.
I'd be like, we're stopping the episode. We're trademarking right now.
That's the thing. You couldn't do anything.
So when I was talking about like reading books with my kids, like people might say things like this. Well, but I get on the iPad and I read books with my kid all the time. Well, okay. So this article brings up a great point. Tablets are a shortcut tool, right? So I sit down with Mac and I read a book to Mac, right? What does she hear? She hears my voice, right? Tablet reads a book. She doesn't hear my voice. She hears the tablet's voice, right? Second, smartphone or a tablet, it kind of spoon feeds the images, the words, and the pictures all at once to a young reader. It tells them like all at once, like the page pops up and then it shows them and then blah blah. Where with me, right, I have to actually like take her hands and I have her point to, this is a tree. Oh, there's a little flap on this book. And that's what I love about kids' books, right? They're very interactive. You can buy interactive kids' books. They have like fuzzies on them. They have buttons on them. They have little flaps they can turn. You can't do that on a tablet, right? So rather than having to take the time to process, voice into words, the tablets don't do what a human can actually do in regards to getting that interaction with your child. So reading a book on a tablet is completely different than reading a book person to person.
I totally agree with you. And when Ari was growing up, and I think it was either doctors or just people, definitely related in our brains about those books, how important they are, because we have them all. She still utilizes them right now, of the touchy, the feely, the open the flaps. I mean, I forgot, there's a word that when you go into a doctor and like the checkups, like, okay, are they responding to this? There's something about the interactive that they ask. But yeah, that 0 to 3, it's there. We never read it off a tablet at all to Aria. It was just now that she's exposing to it. And the reason why she's exposed to it is because we're on our phones. She's seeing what we're doing. She wants to do what we do. They follow it, and they're going to continue as they grow. But yeah, that world of the books is amazing. I mean, what you can do with it, and it's super important.
Yeah, and it really helps build them cognitively. I mean, I remember when I was teaching, watching a child read for the very first time, and there was nothing to me. Because of the type of person I am, there's no greater sense of accomplishment than helping a child to read for the very first time. And the reason for that is because I know that reading is probably the most essential thing a human being can do, right? Like breathing is essential, but breathing is not a learned thing. You breathe because that's just the way you have to survive. Reading is a learned habit, and you have to be able to read in order to get by in today's society.
Yeah,
right?
I think I'm going to change up as Arya grows my liking of reading, because the thing is, I never liked reading. I still don't, but I do. My reading right now consists of, at night, if I have time on my iPad, I read articles that I am interested in, a mixture of everything. But I do know how important it is, and I'm willing to make a sacrifice to, read a chapter a night. I talk to so many, I think Sam was one of them, when he's like, we read a chapter of this a night, and I know how important that is. So if anything's ever important with a child, it's not like I'll sacrifice, but I will change my ways in 2 seconds, because I know how important that is. And I mean, me and you, we pay a lot of attention to the upbringing of our child. Hence we're doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know how important that the reading is super important. And who knows? I might like reading. All the people influences that we're surrounded by, and the knowledge we take in from people that we respect. Every day you read something like, I read a book a day. Here are my top 5 books. I want to, but again, I go to the audiobook world if that's the case.
Well, and I think people will use that as an excuse, and people say, well, yeah, but I listen to Audible. I have Audible. I have a subscription to Audible. I listen to podcasts. Well, that's great. And that's for you. You already know how to read, right? So I think at that point, that's great. If you get your reading done while you're driving in your car because you're listening to Audible, I think that's fantastic, because what you're doing is you're expanding your mind into the thoughts of other people, and I think that's what reading is all about. But I think for your kids, right, it's about them getting to understand what reading is and how powerful it can be, and then once they learn how to read, then get them onto podcasts, then get them onto Audible, those types of things. But they need to learn how to read. So another thing that it touches on with kids and technology is that when we're developing, right, and the brain has the frontal lobe area, right, of development, and this really is the part of the brain that helps decode and comprehending social interactions, right? And with your technology piece, when you're sitting in front of a TV, or you're sitting in front of a screen, or you're sitting in front of a phone, there is no social interaction. I think the gaming world has tried to tap into that by doing the headphones, and you play with teams over online and stuff, which I applaud them for, and what a great social interaction piece. But it doesn't compare to you and 5 of your friends getting together and going outside and playing street games at night or something like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But that's on us. We pay attention to that. So as, Arya grows, and it was actually part of my growing up of I will always find a way to make anything a game. And that, I think, is the trick as kids. If you want your kids to do something, just make it a game. Just tried to get Arya to take a bath, did not want to. And I was like, let's point, you want to do squirt guns in the shower with daddy? And that's what we did. And she was like, I washed her hair, this and that. But yeah, if you just say to your child, don't listen, no more video games. You have to be a little bit more creative, I think, with any kind of thing as they grow. But yeah, the younger age is when you need to pay attention big time to how much technology you're giving them. But as you said, once they get it, then you get to another category of what you can expose them to.
Yeah. So the recommendation is that 0 to 3 years of age, very, very limited screen time. Now, I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I watched a half of a soccer game with Mac the other day. She loved it. She was loving it, man. She was getting all giddy and stuff. They'd show the crowd, and everyone in the crowd's waving flags, and she'd start wiggling in the chair. But I had to be cognizant of it, and I felt a little guilty. But it was a good interaction with us, because I think what I was doing is, and I love watching sports with her because I explained to her what's going on. So as the ball's being kicked up to the forward, I say, oh, that's the forward. They can't go past this person. They're offside. There's the goalie. They try to stop the ball from going in the goal. So I used sports as kind of like a teaching tool while she's watching it. I don't know if that might be an excuse, but I do utilize it that way. But the last thing that we want to touch on is that one thing about life and one thing about TV and electronics is that life doesn't have an on-off switch. You know what I mean? It keeps going. And when there's something on TV we don't like, guess what we can do? Change the channel. We can turn it off. We don't have to be real with it. And in life, when something goes wrong or something doesn't, you don't like something, guess what? You have to deal with it. And so, have you ever shown her a real photograph and she tried to swipe it?
No, not yet. But then
It would
again,
be interesting to see if she did.
but a lot of the photographs she's ever seen is on a phone or a digital device, because that's where we keep it all, other than like the photos on the wall. But no, she's never held a real photo, I don't think.
Oh, see, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But you know what? Mac's never seen a real photo either.
But I also know as she grows, because we love photography, that she will learn how to develop a photo in a darkroom. You know,
Right.
because I like that. You know, like luckily a lot of stuff that I like is very creative stuff. She will be exposed to that. You know, and that's why I always tell Jess, I'm like, you know, I have zero worry of raising our child, regardless of like what it says and what she's exposed to, because I pay so much attention to what I think is important to her as she grows, and we can't get around the technology that we're surrounded by. It's only going to grow.
You can't. And like we talked about in the last episode, you need to adapt to it. You just need to be smart about it. And you need to figure out what suits you and your lifestyle best. But not just that, making sure that you're aware of the cognitive growth of your child, and making sure that you're not utilizing these electronics and technology as a babysitter. You can't do that, people. Don't do that. Don't utilize it as a babysitter.
But here's what I will say to him having a 3-month-old and I have a 3.5-year-old. We always would say don't, and I will not, and I will not. I was the same, so everybody listening, and you're like, Brian, shut the fuck up, okay? And just wait till you have a rough day and you need to get something done, family's coming over, you got whatever, just give her the iPad.
Here's the deal, okay? There is a difference here between utilizing it as a strategy in a moment than utilizing it as an everyday thing.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
So I totally understand that you need to have those one-offs, but there are people out there that utilize it, or there are people out there that are on their electronics and not paying attention to their kids.
See, and this is actually something we haven't touched base on. And I've read an article about how important it is when you're around your child not to have you on your device, because they want to do everything you do. And when they see it more and more, it's okay for them to do. They're not verbalizing it because they don't know how to communicate in that way. But they might throw a tantrum underlyingly because you're always on your device. Why can't I use mine?
Yep.
And I mean,
I think that's more detrimental than the other way around.
And it's exactly. It's also better when you wake up in the morning. Like, how many articles have you read and seen? Like, do not go on your device and start looking at Instagram. Do not, this and that. And I really tried. I tried to tell Jess that, but I'm a culprit. I do it. But if I wake up and Aria's on my lap right here, and if I have to, I will put 2 pillows here, and I will have the device right here while she's watching like a morning cartoon or something, good. I will be doing something here. Just because I kind of have to. I'm trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to do it anyway. I can have some cuddle time with my daughter. She doesn't really know. Maybe she does. She probably does what I'm doing.
Oh, she does, dude.
But that's, it's a tough,
But at the end of the day, like we talked about last episode, that is the world that they're growing up into. Right? But it's our job to just make them aware of it. Communicate that with them. Hey, sweetheart, watch the show. I'm going to work, but we're cuddling. Like, we're hanging out together. Like, we're interacting. If you have questions, ask me. It's not just sitting there mindlessly, her doing her thing, you're doing it. Yeah, you're sitting there together, but there's still got to be that communication interaction, I believe.
It's tough. And with our business, I mean, it's so social media driven that we have to, we're always on it checking things, or, we can really call it kind of research in a way, because we are what we do. So it's a double-edged sword in so many ways with us.
Yeah, and I think that it's funny because in our business, it's the exact opposite. We are face-to-face interacting with clients every single day. So it's really this, whereas Molly comes home and she's had to interact face-to-face with people all day long, and she wants to just kind of disconnect and not have to worry about that immediate interaction. So just, I think the main takeaway is, guys, just be aware. Be aware of what you're doing, be aware of what your kids are doing, and don't utilize it as a tool that is going to supplement you and your parenting abilities and the communication you have with your kids.
Yeah, the younger age that they're at, do whatever you can to really try to not use technology as a, get out of jail free because you got to go do something. It's very important, as Brian said. Those first 3 years are super important. I mean, like, just go sit out in the lawn. You know, go get a book. Always go get a book.
Books, man.
Books are the easiest out. And
Books.
yeah, Arya still loves books.
Yep, books are the best, man. And it's kind of funny because we're saying at the younger age, don't use technology, and then at the older age, we're saying utilize it because that's what they do.
Yeah, you have no choice.
So you've got to switch. You've just got to be aware, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
So now that you're all smarter for watching this episode, now you know how to handle your kids at every single age with the technology. Thank you so much for watching Two Dads on a Mic. When you have these successes with your kids, make sure you just tag us. Tell us how amazing we are. We'll be writing our book soon, and we'll have a book signing for all those people that want to come out and just thank us for all the hard work and information we're giving you.
Yeah, the end game. Book deal.
That's
Who knows?
right.
Sky's the limit.
That's right.
Main thing is
Penguin Books. Here we come.
Love what you do. That's it. Love what you do, and technology will always be a part of it.
It's true. That is true. So thanks everybody for joining us. Great episode. Great talk. Zach, we're out, buddy.
We're out. We're Two Dads on a Mic.